Hey guys, Mike here. Just a quick update on some of the work that I've done. No, that's not the Spitfire. That's the VQ Hurricane. That's a nice flying plane. We're working on the CARF Spitfire. I'm getting pretty excited because the list of things to do is getting shorter and shorter. There's really not much to do before the maiden. A couple of things that are going to make me scratch my head to figure out, but nothing impossible or insurmountable. So the thing I did last night was I just didn't like having the single Camlock in the middle. It was allowing this to flop around, and I was gonna have to figure out some sort of magnets to hold it down. And I thought, just cut it out. Remove this. I put one on each side. It was pretty simple. It took me about 30 minutes, maybe a little under an hour, 45 minutes to do. Now that I know how to do it, it's not a big deal. The hardest part is drilling a hole in a $2,000 airplane. But I've got one to do with it. I'm going to fill it. I'll put a little piece of fiberglass on the back and then just fill it with some filler, sand it down when the plane is painted. When I am going to paint it, you won't even see it. So how did I do this? This is very simple. On another video, I laid out the different sizes of camlock, the screw part. I don't know what's called, the stud. So a camlock is basically three pieces. It's the stud, so the screw itself with the little pins at the end. On the inside of this, there's a Starlock washer that holds it in place, and then of course there's the receptacle. And I'm going to show you that. So this is simple. Let me see if I can do this with one hand on the. So it's a quarter turn, and you see how it pops out? It's spring loaded. There's a spring that pops this out. So as soon as you get the pins out of the receptacle, it unloads and pops right out. So here we go. That's that. And to get them out, you just sort of, there we go. I'll come back so you can see how I have it set up. I've got some G10 tabs to hold it in place. And that's about all I need. It works great. Okay, back here, you can see the system for holding down. These are 256 screws with the angled heads. So I don't have a countersink. Adam Lilly, I talk about, is one of my best buddies, flying guru. He has the correct tool. This is a 110 degree bevel, and that's what you use. That's what they use on full scale aircraft when they're putting in these Camlocks. I don't have a 110 degree bevel, so I just used a larger drill bit, and I kept just turning it by hand slowly until I had the bevel that I needed so that these sit flush. They don't have to be perfect, but you can see, I think you can see, they're pretty good. They're pretty flush. Now, inside, I'm going to zoom in a bit so we can see what the receiver end, the receptacle looks like. So this is the socket. Oh, shoot. Sorry, guys. Let me see if I can do this better. There we go. There. Oh. There it is. There it is. Okay. So go back and look at some of the old videos. I guess a couple of weeks ago I posted with a detailed description of what these look like. But that's it. Those are 256 screws. They're a little bit too long, but they're all I had. I'll nip those and put a little bit of thread lock on there. But that's really it. It was a very simple process to do this. What else did I do? Here's something else I did. I fly FrSky. I've been flying it for years. I think it's rock solid. The technology is pretty amazing, and the price is right. It's a little bit less expensive than, say, something like a Core or a Jetty. Well, it's a heck of a lot less expensive than a Core or a Jetty. But I think it gives you the same great technology. What I did was, let's see if we can, is that focused? Let me see, is there enough light? Maybe there's not enough light. That is a, oh, son of a gun, it's not focusing. That's a FrSky TD SR12. This is a 12 channel, it's really, I think, 24 channels, stabilized receiver. It's got a 6-axis gyro. I have it set up on a 3-position switch. I think I've talked about this before. It goes off, it goes stabilized, which is a lot like AS3X, and then there's one that I call the hand of God. If you get into trouble, you flip the switch and the plane automatically sets itself up perfectly. It rights itself. Now, what I did, I'm going to turn the light off. I don't think we need that. Ooh, maybe we do. That's good. That's pretty good. Now, I have this set up with something called an remote NFC panel. That's this thing here on the side. Sorry, it got dark all of a sudden. That is the on-off switch, so I can leave this thing plugged in all the time and not have to do anything except for turn a little rotary knob, and now I have power to the receiver. Now I'm going to turn it off. All I do is turn this potentiometer, and boom, it does wirelessly. Telemetry lost because it's off. Anyway, FrSky is pretty tricky. Another thing I did was I finished the panels, the opening hatches. Let me see if we can get in there and take a peek at this. This is held in place with a couple of magnets. This is a 1mm G10 plate. These are 2x3 or 2x4 rare earth magnets. There's one here, and then there's one in each corner up here. And this is set up with a magnet because this hatch is going to enclose the charging, what do you call it? The Schrader valve for the air tank for the Retrex. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't have any coffee today. It's going to have the valve and the gauge, so I can fill it from here and look at the gauge to see how much is in here before each flight. I wanted a magnet so that I could do it very easily without having to screw and unscrew. Now you guys remember there's a hatch in the back too. That has a screw because that is not going to be open very frequently. That's just for maintenance on the tail wheel assembly if needed. And that's really it. I mean, I don't have much left to do. My list is getting shorter. I've got to do the battery straps and the hold down using 3M Dual Lock. This is the same Velcro-ish type material that comes with your Easy Pass. Stick it to your windshield. It has just the right amount of grip to hold even big batteries. There's going to be a battery strap on top of that just to be doubly secure. What else is there? I have to move put the plane together and decide where to put the couplings for the air lines. I need to make extensions for these LIFE packs. These packs are going to stay in the plane. LIFE is safe to leave in your model. You can charge them and leave them in there for storage. It doesn't present any kind of risk of fire like lipos, which we can't leave in. I have to desolder those EC5s on my harness and put on those QS8s. They are so much bigger than the EC5s. The other thing I have to do, and I'll probably save it for last because I'm not sure, I don't really want to do it, but I have to cut the spinner, the beautiful aluminum spinner, that beautiful aluminum spinner, to fit this big fat pitchy prop. I made a template out of a cereal box. So it's not something I've ever done before. I have a spare, but I really don't want to ruin one. The spare is going to be for a 3-blade propeller or possibly a 4. I think I'm just going to go with 3-blade. So I'll cut one for 2-blade and one for 3-blade. This is the prop that I'm going to use for the Maiden. It's a JC Super Prop 2516. It's got a lot of pitch. It's really fat. That's really it. You know, there's a couple of other things to do, but nothing major. I've got like maybe a dozen small-ish things to do, and it's going to be ready to fly. All right, guys, that's 8 minutes. Is long enough for me to show you nothing. If you like, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like, I'll try to keep them shorter, or I don't know what. But anyway, I've got a couple of days of work ahead of me, so I'm not going to be playing with it. But maybe next week. I still have a bunch of projects to do. I still have to paint the bottom of the boat, so that's going to take some time. So I need to finish this because once I start messing with the boats, it's kind of my summer thing. So, all right, fellas, take it easy.